How's it going, everyone? My name is True Underdog, and today we're going to talk about how to make Kollector overpowered in Mortal Kombat 11. Certainly not an easy task, as many players consider Kollector to be one of the worst characters in the game at this point, which really is a shame. Because when this game first came out, a lot of people thought Kollector was one of the best characters, but then as the meta evolved, the poor guy just started to fall further and further down the tier list, and now he's pretty much squished between Kotal Khan and D'Vorah. But why exactly do people feel that way? Because Kollector seems pretty good at first. He has this string right here. Then if he jumps and extends it, he can get this combo going. And if you look at that, that was 27% and it was unbreakable. The opponent couldn't even drop out of that because they were never airborne, so that seems pretty good. But here's the problem. If I have the opponent block, as you can see, it is -7. Now that's not super punishable. The opponent has to react on frame 1 to actually punish me, but at the very least I'm so minus that I now give up my turn. And there aren't any special moves that can really keep me safe in this scenario. I can try and do this mace and hope it catches them as a frame trap, but there is a big enough gap there for even a character like D'Vorah to just hit me with a jab, and in fact she can actually get a crushing blow that way, so that's a lot of damage. And even if you do try to save yourself by canceling out of it, you still can't block in time to avoid this. So once you've committed to this string, you have to go for the mix-up. So you can go for a low, which is -15, so fully punishable, or you can go for an overhead, which is -14. So they're both full combo punishable. So not only is the first initial string -7, which means full combo punish against a good player, but then you commit, and the mix-up is also fully punishable. So poor Kollector lives and dies by this string, which is one of his best strings in the entire game. Now he does also have this string, which I think is pretty darn good. It's -10 and has tons of range, so a lot of characters can't actually punish you for doing this unless they have a special move that's just crazy, but I honestly can't think of any character like that off the top of my head. However, herein lies the problem. This move does not combo correctly, at least not in his base tournament variations. He does not have any combo extending special moves that actually work after this string, so instead he has to do something like this, which still does decent damage, and that can still combo. But what's the frame data on that? Let's go ahead and see. Gotta have D'Vorah block. You can't trust the frame data in this game, so make sure it's turned on active. So -14. So once again, I can start a combo with this, but I live and die by this mix-up, and I don't have any overhead combo starters, so of course the opponent's gonna be crouch blocking, and I'm still at minus no matter what I do for the most part. And that's one of the main reasons Kollector is not considered any good anymore. His best combo starters are very unsafe, so he does rely mostly on whiff punishes, because if you do block it, he's either at minus or fully punishable, especially if he commits to that mix-up, which he pretty much has to do. His only real option outside of that in his tournament builds is to do the bola and then cancel out of it, but you can still hit him even in that situation a lot of the time. Now online it can be a bit tougher, but offline at a tournament it's much easier to punish him after blocking that initial string. And the next big reason people consider Kollector to be so low tier is he doesn't have very good defensive options. So if I am minus and manage to block in time because you're not quite able to punish me right away, I'm still not able to get you off of me after that. I don't have any defensive options, I don't have a parry, I do have a teleport, but it costs me 1 bar to actually utilize it effectively, otherwise I'm just in your face again and I'm still at minus, so you can still bully me. I'll likely have time to block, but I'm still on the defensive, so the teleport didn't really help me there. So that's big reason number 2, and finally, last but not least, Kollector is not very good from a distance. His secondary variation is a little bit better at this, but honestly he loses access to so many good tools that you won't see many top players use that build. The one benefit of playing Keep Away with Kollector is this move can actually stun for free for a follow-up if you get interrupted after throwing it, but the odds of that happening are super low. It's still really cool when it happens, but it's just not very likely to occur in an actual match. Alright, so now that we know why many people consider this character bottom tier, let's discuss how we can make him overpowered, starting off with his best special moves that aren't available in his tournament variations. Alright, so in this custom variation, I've given Kollector access to 2 more special moves. First up, we have the Warriyo toss, or something like that. I'm not sure how to say it. Back forward 4. So this move is very similar to his regular combo extender, only it's much faster, which means I can actually combo off of this now. Which means Kollector now has a much safer option to use from a distance. I no longer have to rely on this to whiff punish, I can now use this from much further away. And if it lands, I can hit confirm it and get my full combo. Very awesome stuff. So this projectile is much faster and much more reliable too. Sometimes your typical bola won't actually work even after landing this string at max distance, but the Kyoto toss always works, no matter what. It's just so darn fast. In fact, it can actually even work if the opponent's in the air. So check this out, I'm gonna knock D'Vorah off her feet right here, and then do the war toss, and boom, she is re-standed. Look at that crazy nonsense. It'll even snag people out of the air if they're trying to jump in from further away. So it's a very, very good projectile and very good for extending combos in pretty much every situation. It's honestly much better than the bola in nearly every single way. You just can't cancel out of it, but you don't have to as long as you don't overcommit because we have Relic Lure. So on hit, this move is just another way to extend combos, and it's a bit tricky to do. The cancel window is a bit late, and it does make the enemy airborne, which means they could drop out of it. However, it does do more damage than the war toss, so it is better in that regard. If your opponent doesn't have muted to drop out, this can actually be a more damaging option. However, none of that is what makes this move really good. What makes this move awesome is how it behaves on block. So check this out. I'm gonna go ahead and make D'Vorah block, and look at this. -6. It is completely safe against most characters, and if a character can punish it, all they can do is down 1. So a character like Sub-Zero or Garrus or Aaron Black can down 1 you, but that's about it. That's all they can do, and it's gotta be a frame perfect punish. So now, you can actually hit confirm this string properly. If you do it up close and it's blocked, do Relic Lure. Keeps you fairly safe against the majority of the roster. But if it lands, you can do the enhanced version of the war toss and get a full combo. This already makes Kollector much more dangerous, and while there is a little bit of a gap before this goes off, I've tested it, you actually can't interrupt it even with a standing 1, at least in my experience. The most you could likely do is flawless block it, but that's going to be very tough to time and it costs you a lot of meter, so chances are the opponent's not going to go for that most of the time. So with these two special moves combined, not only does Kollector have access to much better combos and more reliable combos off of more attack strings, but he also has a much better way to keep him safe against the majority of the roster. Very awesome stuff. So that's step 1 on how to make Kollector a much better character almost instantaneously. So next let's talk about step 2, which is changing some of his frame data. So these two strings need a bit of an overhaul in my honest opinion. So we have Slice and Dice and Debt is Paid. So there are plenty of characters in this game who have 50/50s, but typically only one of them is fully punishable and not both. So for example, Sonya Blade comes to mind, and so does Kano in fact in certain variations, but poor Kollector, no matter what he does, he is unsafe in this situation. So I think to make it a bit more fair, only one of these should actually be punishable. And the same goes for his other strings, stuff like this. I don't think it needs to be that punishable, or even strings like this. Nearly every good string he has is fully punishable, or at least unsafe, so at the very least he can lose his turn, and at worst he's fully punishable. In fact, most of the time he's fully punishable if the string is any good at starting combos. So that's step number 2 in my opinion. Stop making him so unsafe on everything he does. I understand that one of these should be unsafe, but not both of them, because then he has no way to actually keep himself safe because he doesn't have this special move in most builds. And I don't think he should rely on a special move cancel just to keep himself safe. A vast majority of characters in this game have at least a couple of strings that can be hit confirmed on block while keeping themselves safe, but poor Kollector doesn't seem to have that luxury. Nearly every good string he has for starting off combos is really unsafe and punishable on block. So to make this character overpowered, tweak that frame data a little bit. And honestly, I think that might be all you need to make this character overpowered, or at the very least viable in a tournament setting. Because once again, this guy already has combos that you can't possibly escape. You have to stay on the ground the entire time. So that's 30%, and it's not even a max damage combo. A max damage combo would look a little bit more like this. So look at this. 33%, and you couldn't even escape it, so that's already pretty overpowered on its own. So imagine if his frame data was actually good and he could keep himself safe in multiple situations. Not to mention the ability to combo from more distances. This guy has really crazy range, but without this special move, the War Toss, he can't really make use of that extended range because nothing leads to an actual combo. The most he can get is stuff like this because nothing else even reaches. And that really sucks, so give him this War Toss move, and suddenly he's scary from many more distances. And at this range, he beats nearly any character in the game. So once again, very scary just by giving him a few special moves and improving his frame data. I think that's all he really needs. However, if I did have the power to change one more thing, I would improve these crushing blows a little bit as well. So Take It All requires the opponent to just get hit while crouch blocking. That's what it actually requires, and once again, I don't think it's going to happen very often, especially at high level, because they're just going to see it coming and stand up immediately. There's no low hitting special moves for Kollector, so there's no reason to block low at this point after that big kick comes out. Now online it might be a little bit trickier because it's harder to react with rollback or in a bad connection, but it's not a super reliable crushing blow. And then this one, the War Toss, will actually crushing blow if they're standing in Vial of Sorrow, which honestly wouldn't be a bad idea except for the fact that he doesn't have that combination in any of his tournament builds. He doesn't have the War Toss, which means Vial of Sorrow is that much less applicable. If he had this along with Vial of Sorrow, he'd be much stronger, and honestly, it doesn't sound like a bad pairing. It would make him great for combos and also great at managing space control and Oki pressure on the opponent's wake up. You knock him down, do Vial of Sorrow, throw this and catch him getting up. That could be a fantastic combo, but it's not possible at the moment. So if I could change one more thing about this character, I would give him Vial of Sorrow with the War Toss and also make this crushing blow a little bit better. Maybe have it happen on counter hit or just land it a couple of times in a row, something like that to make it a bit more likely to happen in a high level match. Alright, and there you have it everyone, my tips for making this character overpowered in Mortal Kombat 11. Once again, I am by no means a collector main, so if you have any better ideas, please post down below in the comments, I'd love to read about it. And then while you're down there, go ahead and leave a like if you enjoyed the video, it really does help my channel out a ton. And finally, why not keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell, that way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.